Long, and now for a taste test, guys. Steve, Ainsley, Brian, don't get a brain freeze.
Harley, come over. Take one.
I have one right here.
You're doing the blue one. Do you like cherry? Do you like Coca-Cola? Or do you like pina colada?
You know what? I can go.
Do you like pina coladas?
I think this is pina colada. I got the blue one.
Yeah. What color do you like? I like them all.
You know what? I just want a straw.
We have two straws. This is one for you. Do you want Coke or do you want cherry?
I'm going to go cherry.
Okay.
All right.
I'll do Coke. So.
They're free because it's 7-Eleven Day. It's the 11th day of the 7th month.
I got orange. What's the brown one?
Orange. The Coca-Cola.
Oh, I thought it was chocolate.
Yes.
That is
even
good.
better. Cola. You can put some vanilla ice cream in the Coke float.
But I think the best thing about this, and this is a key, when you fill up, put the cap on first.
Yeah, so you
can go right up to the top.
Then you go up to the top. Don't you hate it when they fill it up?
Yeah.
They fill it up down here. I'm like, can you just add a little?
Right, that's your inner child coming out. That's the hack.
And I will say this too. Congratulations, 7-Eleven. You trust your customer to do it yourself. I mean, more people, they trust us to pump gas and make our own Slurpee.
It's
rather than asking us. Because the ice cream man asks us.
Did you ever take a sip and then fill it back up again?
No.
Maybe.
I haven't.
Maybe once or twice.
But 95 years of 7-Eleven.
I know.
What was it like 95 years ago?
Happy anniversary.
95 years. Yeah, it seems so modern now.
People used to go up there with their horse and tie it around.
And get a Slurpee out of the machine.
Absolutely. I remember that like it was yesterday.
You know what they used to be called? They used to be called the totem shops. Like you would go in and
those are the days.
All right. They probably had a charge account. You could charge it to your house.
I remember bringing wampum in. I brought wampum in, and I would exchange a rabbit skin for a Slurpee back then. It was hard. I used to go with Daniel Boone.
Right. After you caught your dinner for the family.
Yeah, absolutely.
Naturally.
All right. It is 19 minutes after the top of the hour. Still ahead, a dramatic rescue that was captured on police body cam. Look at this video. It's incredible. Meet the hero New Jersey officers who saved a man's life by pulling him out of that burning car.
And the hectic housing market has you stressed. Dave Ramsey's here with his reassuring smile. He says, don't panic. He has tips for buying a home. Not his. He lives in it.
Red hot housing market. Finally cooling down a little bit. If you're worried about buying a house in this hectic real estate market, you're not alone. But our next guests say, don't panic. Just listen to the facts. Here now are the investment pros, founder of Ramsey Solutions, Dave Ramsey, and personal finance expert, George Campbell. Guys, good morning to you.
Good morning, Steve.
Let's go through a lot of this. And Dave, ever since the pandemic and people realize, wait, I need to have a house because that's going to also be my office. The costs of house have gone through the roof, and now there seems to be a pause or something like that. And your first tip is people just need to realize this is not what happened in 2008.
It's a completely different market than 2008. And, we're seeing a lot of chatter on social media, which is not necessarily where you go for intelligent talk, but you can get the pulse of how people are feeling. And, they're afraid. And they're actually, some of the younger ones have never experienced a downturn in the market, and they're predicting that this housing market is going to crash like it did in 2008, and the data says otherwise. Plus, my 40 years of hanging around these real estate markets says otherwise, because you've got some perspective on how these things work. And we've just got a tremendous shortage of housing still versus the number of buyers, and that's going to hold prices firm.
Sure, and George, to Dave's point, shortage of houses, this is the same reason gas is expensive and the groceries are so expensive. It's supply and demand. The supply is short of the demand.
That's right. I want people to focus on facts over fear, and it's really as simple as that. When there's huge demand, not enough supply, we see prices shoot up. That's what happens in the last few years. But when there's not a ton of supply and there's a lot of demand, that's what we're seeing right now.
All right.
That's what we were seeing back in 08. And so I want people to realize that there's 5 million more buyers this year than there was in 07. And inventory is half of what it was in 07. And so that's what we're going to see for the next few years. We need to see supply catch up.
George, why are there so many more buyers now?
Well, you're seeing millennials like me start to get into the market going, I really want a house. And so there's a lot more eligible buyers and not enough houses to go around. We can't build fast enough. And people are really freaking out over the market and what's happening. And I want you to realize that fear is a terrible financial advisor.
If you look back to 2008, 2007, the Gen Xers were mid-30s. There's 5 million more millennials in their mid-30s than there were Gen Xers in 07. And mid-30s is prime house buying time. Now, I know it's scary, and I know interest rates are up and house prices are up. Some people have been priced out of their dream home, but that doesn't mean demand has completely evaporated.
Sure. George, why don't you just live in Dave's garage?
You know, if he'd have me, I would absolutely do it, Steve. It's beautiful.
He's a little cheap like you. He probably would.
I'll take a free Slurpee, too, if you've got one.
Today's the day. You also say stay the course, Dave. What does that mean?
Well, if you're a seller right now, the market has slowed down. It does appear we're going into at least a light recession, and that means the market's going to slow down. Interest rates are almost double of what they were just a few months ago. It's 6% for a house now. And so if you're a seller, you're going to experience a more normal market, 90 days or 120 days for your house to sell instead of 3 minutes. And you're probably not going to get 85 offers in the first 48 minutes on the market.
Right.
And you're probably going to actually get somewhere close to appraisal instead of appraisal plus what someone is paying because they're panicking on getting to purchase a home. So it's going to be more of a normalized market, but it's been wicked white hot for a while.
Yeah, no kidding. And that's why you're having a free real estate reality check live stream Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Dave, where do people visit RamseySolutions.com/reality check so that they can sign up? So we'll all be watching. George and Dave, we thank you very much for joining us live.
Thanks for having us.
You bet. All right. Still ahead, new video reveals that New York City bodega worker charged with murder was just simply trying to defend himself before he killed the attacker. Now, bodega owners want city leaders to adopt essentially what they do in Florida. That's coming up. Plus, emergency landing. The wild moment a pilot safely landed his plane after the engine stalled. Can you imagine if you're driving on that highway?
Back with some headlines, starting with this. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer testing positive for COVID-19. Schumer says he will work remotely this week as the Senate reconvenes following a 2-week recess. His spokesperson says the New York Democrat is experiencing, quote, very mild symptoms. Schumer is fully vaccinated and has received multiple booster shots against the disease. And a pilot makes a miraculous emergency landing in the mountains of North Carolina. The pilot had to navigate curvy roads and power lines in order to safely land the small plane. Thankfully, no one was injured in the landing, which was prompted by one of the plane's engines stalling out. The pilot was later able to use a straight part of the road to safely get back in the air. Those are your headlines, guys. Over to you. Scary.
There was that big curve right there, and he was going awful fast.
Yeah, God bless
That's
him.
some
He's
good
okay. He
driving.
did it. Yes.
He's okay.
Whew, that's good.
Thank goodness. Thank you, Carly.
You're welcome.
All right, thank you, Carl. All right, 26 minutes before the top of the hour, a bodega worker charged with murder in a case of self-defense was trying to stop the violent attack, according to a new video where we hear the audio shared by the New York Post.
Now, an association of bodegas is rallying behind that man, demanding that the city drop all